TikTok is challenging the United States law that could potentially ban the app. The company filed a lawsuit today in response to a federal aid package signed into law last month, which included a measure that forces the company to divest from its China-based parent company or face a ban in the U.S. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian is following all of this from Capitol Hill. Nicole, great to have you. So how should we expect this legal battle to play out in the court?
Well, it will likely be a very protracted one. President Biden was here at the Capitol a short time ago, and I did ask his reaction to this lawsuit. He did not respond, but this lawsuit, in essence, was filed by TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance, against the Attorney General Merrick Garland, basically calling on him to not enforce this new law that the president just signed. Now, you may recall that this was all part of a bigger national security package that included funding for Israel, Ukraine, the Indo-Pacific, but it also had this component where, as you mentioned, it requires TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to divest and sell off the popular social media app. And so in this lawsuit today, TikTok says that this was an unprecedented step by Congress of singling out TikTok. It says that this law is unconstitutional, that it violates First Amendment rights. And it also says that, even though lawmakers seem to suggest that this is not a ban, that they simply want the divestiture of TikTok, that really is not a choice for the company. And to try to do it in 270 days or 9 months is just not possible, the company says. And so they say, in effect, this would require or result in the shutdown of this social media app, which some 170 million Americans use. It also argues that Congress didn't really look for any alternative restrictions to impose on the company. So there are a number of reasons that TikTok says that it is against this law and why it filed suit today. Again, still a lot of reaction coming in, including we'll have to see how, in fact, the federal government does respond.
And Nicole, another big topic today on Capitol Hill is Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and Mike Johnson meeting for the second straight day. What do each one of them want to get out of these talks?
Well, keep in mind it was Marjorie Taylor Greene who called for this meeting, not Speaker Johnson. And so the Georgia Congresswoman, who does have the support for her motion to vacate by a Kentucky Republican Tom Massey, as well as Arizona Republican Paul Gosar, they say that their demands are pretty simple. In terms of Congresswoman Greene, for instance, she believes that no legislation should be brought to the floor unless a majority of the Republican conference supports it. That's the so-called Hastert rule. She also does not want any additional funding for Ukraine and wants the speaker to commit to that. So those are some of the things that she is pressing for, in addition to potentially defunding the office of the special counsel, which is currently involved in a number of investigations, including some involving the former president. So again, whether or not the speaker will adhere to this wish list remains to be seen. He has said that he does not see this as a negotiation, that he does provide members the opportunity to meet with him, to talk with him so that he can hear them out. He did call yesterday's meeting constructive, but where this goes from here remains to be seen.
So if, let's say, hypothetically speaking, because it doesn't sound like this, like things are moving forward with what Greene wanted, if they cut some type of deal, how or if they didn't cut a deal, how would that impact Congress had Marjorie Taylor Greene succeeded at removing him from
Well, I think it's too early to say. I mean, they are meeting this afternoon and those discussions continue. And so, again, whether or not she is able to reach some type of understanding with the speaker, as I said, I think remains to be seen. But clearly, she still has this threat of the motion to vacate hanging over the speaker's head. And she has not gone so far as to say that she will no longer trigger that motion. She told us yesterday, for instance, that she has been very patient with the speaker and that her concerns that she has previously expressed kind of remain the same. So again, there are some, though, including Paul Gosar, who has suggested maybe this motion to vacate shouldn't be triggered this week. So whether they continue to talk things out, I think, is something potentially to watch for. I don't know that Speaker Johnson is necessarily eager to cut a deal with any member for that sake, because we have seen kind of how that has played out previously for the former Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. I think right now it's just a matter of each side continuing to hear the other out to see if they can come to some type of resolution.
Nicole, thank you so much for that.